in charge of communication Mtetezi. And today we are here on 6th March 2026 with a press statement. From Kazi Maju to crisis, Mtetezi calls out government failure to protect citizens abroad. Background: government promoted overseas jobs. Under President William Ruto, the Kenyan government aggressively promoted overseas employment through the Kazi Maju program, presenting it as a cornerstone solution for youth unemployment. The Ministry of Labour, CS Alfred Mutua, and the State Department of Diaspora Affairs, PS Roslyn Jogu, actively facilitated recruitment drives, partnerships with Gulf employers, and verification processes, framing these overseas jobs as safe, structured, and essential for national development. Families were assured that the government was investing in the welfare and protection of citizens it encouraged to leave the country. The message was clear. Kenyans were to see Middle East employment as a trusted, government-backed opportunity. Government's inaction during the crisis. Today, Mtetezi, a grassroots economic justice movement, is shocked and outraged at the government's failure to act decisively amid the ongoing Middle East conflict, which now places over 500,000 workers at a grave risk. President Ruto has now limited his engagement on the crisis to social media statements, offering empty reassurance with no actionable evacuation plans. PS Njogu has avoided media appearances, failing to provide clear guidance of reassurance to families desperately seeking information. CS Mudavadi issued a careless directive that Kenyans must return at their own expense, a stance both insensitive and inconsistent with prior government advocacy for employment abroad. CS Mutua has remained silent, abandoning his responsibility to safeguard the citizens his ministry once actively deployed. This is a glaring betrayal of the social contract. Citizens were encouraged, often actively, to travel abroad. Yet the government now refuses to offer protection, evacuation, or verified channels for assistance, leaving citizens exposed in a conflict zone. Families suffering. Mtetezi speaks directly for the thousands of families living in fear as their loved ones face daily danger. Many households have no reliable means of verifying the safety of relatives, forced to depend on social media posts, rumors, and unverified messages. Parents, spouses, and siblings endure relentless anxiety, sleepless nights, and mental torment, while the government continues to issue a vague advisories instead of decisive action. This lack of transparency and accountability intensifies the suffering of families who trusted the government's earlier assurances and now face helplessness as a consequence of state inaction. Economic impact. The conflict in the Middle East is already wreaking havoc on Kenya's economy, compounding the human toll with financial consequences. Kenyans' reliance on the exclusive government-to-government oil agreements with Gulf suppliers has exposed the country to future price shocks and supply instability. Exports of tea, flowers, etc. are being disrupted as shipping routes are rerouted or closed, threatening billions of shillings in revenue, endangering farmers, exporters, and employees across multiple sectors. While the government has issued general assurances of stability, there are no concrete measures in place to protect citizens, stabilize energy prices, or safeguard key exports. The contrast between earlier promotion of overseas employment and the absence of protective action now is stark, exposing the nation to both human and economic vulnerability. Call to action and ultimatum. Mtetezi demands that the government, 1. Immediately launch a fully coordinated government-funded evacuation of all Kenyans stranded in conflict zones. 2. Establish verified communication channels and 24/7 emergency support to ensure families can track and assist their loved ones. 3. Implement urgent economic measures to mitigate disruptions to oil imports, trade flows, and remittances. We therefore give the government 72 hours to act. If there is no decisive, tangible response, Mtetezi will organize a mass demonstration to the Ministries of Labor and Foreign Affairs, demanding accountability, protection, and immediate action. The government's time for advisories and empty reassurances is over. Citizens' lives, families' peace of mind, and stability of the economy cannot wait. The statement must now honor its responsibilities or face public accountability through civic action. Thank you.
Thank you to the members of the fourth estate.
My name is Franck. I'm the national convener of Mtetezi. Today is a very sad day to us, and that's why we are here, so that we can address the nation, so that we can address the government concerning the issue that is happening in the Arab countries. Tuliona jana Musalia Mudavadi akisema wale watu wenye wako ng'ambo wajilipie transport warudi Kenya. The reason why I cannot take Musalia Mudavadi serious, it is because hiyo kitu yenye anashikilia it is unconstitutional. So nachukulia maoni yake kama ya Mkenya wa kawaida. And that's why we cannot discuss about Mudavadi. Tuende kwa Alfred Mutua. Alfred Mutua tuliona wakizurura na wakirandaranda Kenya mzima, wakisema kuwa government ita protect wale watu wenye wanaenda kufanya kazi kwa hizo inchi za Kiarabuni. And we know very well hizo inchi za Kiarabu zinaletanga agents wao hapa Kenya, wanapea agents wao pesa ndio wanaweza kuchukua wasichana wanaenda kufanya kazi huko ngambo. Tumeona watu wakisema ati saa hizi wao wasichana wenye wako ngambo wanafaa kujilipia transport, ili hali saa zenye walikuwa hapa Kenya waliambiwa wamelipia transport ya kwenda ngambo na transport ya kurudi Kenya. And that's why wakienda kwa hizo inchi za Uarabu wananyang'anyanga passport, so that hiyo contract ya 2 years ama 3 years ikiisha unarudishwa passport yako. Nimeongea na wasichana kadhaa wakaniambia hadi saa hizi venye tu hivi vita inaendelea bado passport zao zimeholdiwa na hawajaweza kurudishiwa. Nikiendelea tumeona Kenya Airways rather than kupunguza bei ya transport ama flight ya kutoka hizo nchi za Kiarabu wame double prices. Zile nchi zingine zenye ziko na zenye ziko na citizens wao nchi za Kiarabu wamepunguza flight na wame make mechanism za ku make sure citizens wao wako kwa countries zao. Ile kitu yenye inanishangaza saa hizi, rather than Kenya ijaribu venye itaweza kurudisha citizens wao Kenya, wao wana organize na watu wa Kenya Airways wanapandisha bei. Nyinyi mnataka wa Kenya wetu 500,000 wakufia huko juu ama mnataka tukue na wao? Mimi naomba President William Samoei Ruto, tumeona ukizunguka ukilaunch hizo project zako za housing, tunakuomba chukua simiti peke yake, usinunue simiti for the next like 1 week. Hiyo pesa yenye unategemea kununua simiti, tuma ndege huko hizo nchi za Kiarabu zituletee wa Kenya wetu wakiwa hai. Tumekuwa na relatives wetu, vijana wenzetu na wamama wanalia, and that's why hatuko nao kwa hii press, kwa sababu tumeacha pale chini wakilia, tukaona hakuna haja wa address the nation na machozi. Lakini tunataka kusema hivi, tumepatia moto wa 72 hours. Kama hautatuambia venye wa Kenya wetu tutawapata hapa, venye mliwatoa Kenya ndivyo tunawataka. Na saa hizi hakuna Mkenya hata mmoja mwenye amekufa, wote wako hai. Tunawaongelesha na tunajua mahali wapo, wote wako hai. Tunawapea 72 hours. Kama hamtatupatia wa Kenya wetu venye wako wakiwa hai, kama hamtatuambia zile mechanism zenye mnataka kutumia kuturudishia wa Kenya wetu hapa Kenya, itabidi after that 72 hours tuende kwa ofisi ya Mutua tuulizane maswali tukionana unyo kwa unyo. Asanteni sana. Mungu abariki Kenya na Mungu abariki wote. Kuna swali?
Yes. And before I address the next issue, because we also know there's an issue with Nairobi County and what happened yesterday and what has been happening, I just want to add something on what is happening in the Gulf. I saw a notice by IMF saying that Kenya isn't very clear on the kind of mitigation measures that we have put in place, because we know that we have G2G. And this thing was an idea by the president himself, and it was to stabilize the dollar. Now in a place where the person who is supplying us with oil is in a war, we need to know. I saw a press statement by the Minister of Energy saying that we are secure. But how secure are we? How much oil do we have in store? We need that breakdown. How much are we using in a month? How many million metric tons of diesel, petrol, and kerosene are we using in a month? And how much do we have in store? So that we know we are secure for how long. And do we have any alternative in case the war prolongs? Because you can't say the war will go for a week or a month. And lastly, this goes to our exports. We know that Kenya, we export most of agricultural goods to the Middle East. And Iran and Pakistan are the biggest importers of our tea. Now that they are in war, do we have an alternative? I haven't seen any communication by the Minister of Agriculture or the relevant, even the Tea Board of Kenya, addressing that issue. Or majani chai zetu zitaanza kuozea Mombasa, then tukose the revenue, all of a sudden dollar tena ianze, energy pia mafuta bei pande, kidogo kidogo, we're in economic crisis. This is just a warning bell. We are just asking the government, please don't act like nothing is happening. Then when after something has happened, now we start rushing around. Kenyans are already in a tough economic situation. Ikiendelea hivi, we'll be in deeper mess. So for that matter, our address is to the president and the relevant ministry, all of them. We demand they form a multi-sectoral team so that this issue can be addressed and Kenyans can get the information and our people in the Middle East can be brought back safely. Please bring them kawa wamekaa juu ya ndege, si uko chini wakiwa maiti. Thank you.
The pertinent questions that I want to ask the CS Alfred Mutua. For a very long time, he was not seen once or twice on top of the vehicles campaigning Kazi Maju and legitimizing this process. Today, our young people are stranded at Arab's nation. And the pertinent question that you are asking Alfred Mutua, are we going to sit back seeing our people or repatriating bodies of people who will die if this war will escalate? Because we've seen you've decided not to give even a single statement, yet you've been exporting our young people like sweet potatoes to Arab's nation to seek for opportunities. The government that has failed to provide opportunity at home must be ready and be ready to protect those people who they are exporting to get employment outside. As young people, the pertinent question that you're asking today, Alfred Mutua, together with the cabinet secretary, the cabinet secretaries in charge of labor, that us we won't sit behind seeing our people stranded, yet you, the same government, we've been seeing you moving around telling us that you've organized 1 million jobs outside, that now Kenyans youth will be employed in Gulf. But yet when there is crisis, when young people are leaving this nation, they are not just statistic for remittance. We are asking you, when you are receiving remittance from those people who are outside there and building apartments here at home, now be ready to take charge for those who are now stranded at Gulf, because Mtetezi won't sit behind and look at our young people who are suffering at the Gulf. We've seen the way the war is escalating, and we won't allow you to do repatriation of bodies. Yes, those people leave Kenya to seek for green pastures outside there. Thank you.